All right, today, first day of Honors Pre-Calc, and I am going to teach you some stuff about functions. Specifically, I'm going to be mainly talking about different notations. Set notation, set builder notation, sometimes we call it, and also about these two symbols here, the U and the upside down U. All right, so get to this slide right here, and you're going to want to take some notes on this quickly. Be ready to write. This one right here means union. And that means that you basically all get into one big group, like the Union of the United States of America. We're all in one big group now. It's not just like Texas on their own and Minnesota on their own. We're all in one big group. So if I was going to do a union of two sets of numbers, let's say I had 2, 3, and 4, and I had 4, 5, and 6, the union of them would be 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Does that make sense to you? By union, the two sets, just means I join them all up into one big group, okay? And how about this one? If that's union, anybody know what that's going to be? Starts with an I. Intersection. You know, our high school is fairly near 101 and 7. And let's say that's Highway 101. Let's say that's Highway 7. And they cross, right? Ever heard of this thing called the intersection? It's where the two roads cross, right? Okay, the intersection is technically where those two roads are overlapping. If this is a set and that's a set, where do they overlap? At 4. So the answer to that one, the intersection of these two sets, would be 4. All right, and sometimes we have groups of numbers that we will write like in this set builder notation. This is called set builder notation. Note the scripty things on the front and the back, kind of like brackets, upgraded brackets. And then we have often a union or an intersect symbol. And then we have X is this and X is that. And then either you're overlapping them, which is like intersection, or you're putting them all in one big group, which is like union. All right, I want you to all draw me a number line and circle 2 and 5 on it. And then I want you to shade in the rest of where you think that is on the number line. Is it talking about everything? Is it talking about only things bigger than 5? Is it talking about the things between 2 and 5? Or is it talking about the things that are smaller than 2? Shade in where you think that set notation is leading you. And I'll pause for a second while you do that. All right, so the 2, bigger than 2, means you shade this way, forever. The one that says less than 5, that means you start at the 5, but you go less than 5, which is shading that way, forever. But since it said intersect, it means where did they overlap? It means right there. So if you shade it in between these two, that's what we were going for. Raise your hand if you had that one right. Okay, good. Now, what if I change the symbol to union? On a number line, since 2 and 5 are important, I'm still circling them. But now, I think the answer is now. Say it if you know it. It's all of it. It's the big group idea. The Union of the United States of America. We're all together in this one big group. Okay, so it's like this. It's everything. All right, what if it was like this? X is less than 2. Union with X is less than 5. Plus we put a little scripty thing at the beginning, and an X, and a little scripty thing at the end. Graph that one for me. Just on a number line. Who noticed the catch here? Something different this time. Yes. They're both less than. So they're both heading to the left. So that one's heading to the left, and this one's heading to the left. So my really only question is, should I include the 2 or shouldn't I? When I did 2, 3, 4, and I did 4, 5, 6, and I said union, did I include the 4? Yeah. Should I include the 2, or should I not include the 2? If it's in either set, it's in the union, so you do include it. All right, so this one's included. So yeah, it's everything that's less than 5. How about the 5 itself? Is the 5 included? No. It says less than 5. What if I changed it to less than or equal to? Then it would be included, and then I would fill it in like this. All right, last thing, and that is to make what's called interval notation. Say I say x is greater than 5. Would you agree that that is all the numbers that are bigger than 5 and go all the way to what? What stops them? From 5 to infinity? That seem right to you? That's called interval notation. All right. How about if I said x is greater than or equal to 5? How is it different now? You put a bracket on the 5, and then it's the same thing. Do you get the distinction there? If it is equal to 5, it can be 5, then use a bracket. This means it can be 5. This parentheses can't be infinity. That's a weird thing, but it's true. Mathematicians don't let something be infinity because you can't actually get there. If you get there, then it's actually more than that. You weren't there. So anyway, you're always going to have parentheses around infinity because you can never get there. On regular numbers like 5, they can either have parentheses or brackets. Depends on if you want them to be included. If I want 5 to be included or not. Let's say I have a daycare where I accept people ages 5 to 10. Would I put brackets on the 5 and the 10? Yeah, because unless you don't want 5-year-olds, then you'd put parentheses around the 5. But then you do want 10-year-olds, put a bracket on the 10. All right, now get to this slide. This is just a quick reminder of what kind of diagram? A Venn diagram. If I had asked 18 people and got these results, that would mean 5 people had a dog, but not a sister. What would this mean? 2 people have both a dog and, notice me using the word and, a sister. Dog and sister. How about that one? They have sisters, but what? Not dogs. Okay, and how about this one? Neither. Neither? Neither? Who says neither in here? If I was going to pick, you pick and say it in front of the class. Would you rather say neither or neither? Who's a neither person? Raise your hand. Who's a neither person? Raise your hand. Ooh, a smaller group of neither people. How about roof? Roof and roof. Who goes up on the roof? How about who goes up on the roof? I'm a roof guy. That's about half and half on that one. All right. And we're all from Minnesota, where, of course, everybody thinks we talk funny. Of course, we don't. But anyway. Okay. Back to this for a second. Where would dog intersect sister be? Just the 2. How about dog union sister? Union of the United States of America. It's a big group. The 5, the 2, and the 8. Good. All right, good. How about this? These are the 3 notations. By now, do you get how to do a number line with open circles and closed circles? Okay, could you do it if I did this? Bracket, parenthesis. Would you know what I meant? Can it be 3 or not? Yes. Can it be 9 or not? All right, good. So then the set notation is this. That's called set builder notation. Don't worry about the word builder. It won't matter. And interval notation is like this. If I put a bracket on something, how did that change it? Now it can be 3. All right. So apostrophe is the last thing I can draw your attention to, and that means not. So if I said, let's say that I really didn't like Apple products, then I would say I was Apple not. Everything but apple is fine. Okay. It's the complement to is another name for it. So this complements that. Okay, they're meant to go together. Okay, so if I say, what is the complement to these two guys? It's everybody else that isn't these two guys. All of you guys then that are not these two guys are the complement to them. Okay, so what's the complement to the number 8? Everything else except 8. What's the complement to the numbers 8 to 10? That means not the numbers from 8 to 10 inclusive. Okay. So how about this? Is 10 in the complement to this? We really have to ask yourself, is 10 in the group in the first place? So then when I do that, the answer is no. Because 10 would have been in this group, and therefore that means the complement to or not. All right, so if I said the probability of rain tomorrow is 20%, then what's the probability of not rain tomorrow? Does that make sense? If it's a 20% chance of rain, and then I say complement to that would be 80%. 80% chance of not rain. All right, and here is your big examples page. Now, you are taking notes. Notes are probably more important in this class than they have ever been to you before, because up until now, we've always given you a review test before you take a test. Like, here's some review problems that are just like what's on the test. We don't do that anymore from this level on. In fact, in this level, they used to do it, but they decided that you know what, we got to get these kids prepared for the higher level classes. The APs and the IBs of the world don't give reviews that are just like the tests. So on the last day before the test, I'm not going to say, okay, so here's your practice test. There will be no such thing. Your only way to study for that test is to look back through your notes. So take good notes. And here's the other really important thing. Are you going to want to look over every single slide that I did between now and then that test? I'll give you a hint. There's like 150 of them. You're going to want to look over 150 slides the night before test? No. So what you should do is make a way for yourself to note that this is an important one. If it were me personally, I'd put a star in the upper left-hand corner on any page of the notes that I felt like was super important and therefore something I'd want to review the night before the test. Like if you ever get that feeling, or if I even say, ooh, there's definitely going to be this kind of stuff on the test, quick, make a star. Because then when you're flipping through your notes later, right before the test, you can be like, oh, there's a star there. Oh, there's an important formula. That's right. We have to know the mixture formula. Or flipping through further, you see another star, and you're like, oh, I guess I needed to know this thing about, well, this would be where the stars is today. If you can do everything on this page, then you've got a concept down. And yes, this is extremely easy, but this is one of the things that's on your test. And I'm not going to say that every time. Okay, you have to kind of get the idea. Oh, we spent a bunch of time on this. Probably important. Put a star by it. But if you star your notes, I think it's just being nice to yourself later, because then when you look through your notes, you'll actually have some pretty good hints from yourself. Hey, dummy, reminder, this formula is important. It's just notes to yourself. So just help yourself. Make some little stars or something to indicate that they're important. All right, so these are the three methods. The first column is the graph. The middle column is set builder, and the end column is, what's that last thing called? Starts with an I. That not intersection. The third column there, interval notation. I want to write that down. This is just a number line. This is set builder. And this is interval. All right, let's see if you can do this one. Do this top one right here. And once you got it done, you know, make a number line for it, and do set builder for it. I'll give you a hint. The set builder part has to always start with the scripty things. And if you're only doing one variable, like an x, and then it needs an intersect or a union symbol. And then something union something or something intersect something. If I were you, I'd do this one as an intersect. Okay, give that one a shot. I'm going to pause for a second whilst you see if you can figure that one out. And compare it with the kid that I paired you with earlier. All right, so here's what you should have done. First of all, it's between 5 and 9, which means there's a bracket here and there is a parenthesis there. Or if you'd rather, this one's a filled-in circle and this one's open. I will let you use either one. Brackets, parentheses, or empty and full circles. Then it's filled in between them. Now to me, I like to think of that as an overlap of the one that was going to go this way and the other one that was going that way. So that means that this should be x is bigger than 5 or equal to 5, and x is less than 9. Why didn't I say or equal to 9? It's not a bracket. It can't be 9. All right, that's set builder notation, and that is the number line, which doesn't need this part. Raise your hand if you had that one right. Okay, good. And that's just a simple little start to a class that's going to definitely be much more complicated than that. Your homework is up to here. Today, it was pretty simple. I mean, I had a lot of stuff to go through at the beginning of the hour, which is why we didn't do much math today. But are you willing to do the work it'll take? Up until this class, you only had one choice. It was always do the next class after that. After algebra is geometry. After geometry is higher algebra. But after higher algebra, I don't know if you know this, but you had a ton of choices at the high school you could have taken after higher algebra. You chose to take one of the hardest ones. In fact, it is the hardest one. Honors pre-calc is of all those choices. This is the challenging one. That's what you signed up for. So if you're not willing to do homework, if this homework frightens you at all, run away, because it's going to get more challenging. But I'm going to try to keep the homework to 20 minutes a night. So as long as you are ready to do the work, willing to do that 20 minutes a night at minimum, you'll be okay. And I think you'll like the class. By the end of the first week, you're going to make me a dossier. And basically, it's just info about yourself. Like, if I'm supposed to do a good job of teaching you, I need to know some stuff. Like, for instance, if you're colorblind, it makes a difference when I'm using different colors. I'd probably be smarter about, instead of using red and black, then I might be smarter about using squiggly lines and straight lines. Or I can adapt. Okay, so another thing is, if I have a kid who's dyslexic, there's going to be challenges with some of the word problems and reading them and writing long answers and stuff. Tell me what I can know about you. Maybe it's not something that deep. Maybe it's something just as simple as, I like lots of examples or whatever. Just tell me about you. And then it's just a Google Doc, but you need to paste your picture in there, because if you're Sally Smith, I don't even know who that is. But if I see the picture of you, I'm like, oh yeah, that's that girl from class. Okay, so make sure it's got a picture. And then you're going to share it with me, and the name you put on it is important. You put hour whatever, in this case we're hour 4, and then your last name, comma, your first name. That way it'll naturally, in my in my Google Drive, it'll sort itself by hour naturally. You know what I mean? I can just sort by all the hour 5 kids, and boom, I got them all in one place, and I can throw them in folders. So again, name it correctly with your hour, and then your last name, comma, first name. And share it with me at davidserver@minnetonka.org. You can email me there, but it just automatically sends a copy to my other email. My other email is the normal one, the same as the website for the school. Just my name, first name, last name, david.server at the website for the school. All right. So one other request is that you bring me a box of Kleenex. It's dumb, but if you want to use Kleenex in here, believe it or not, the math department spends hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars out of its budget, which is not a big budget. We spend a ton of money on Kleenex. That's the dumbest thing in the world to be spending money on for a math department. So if you want to help out on that, just bring in a box of Kleenex. It would be much appreciated. Okay, and I'll just toss it in the closet over there, and then when we need a box of Kleenex because somebody's got a sniffly nose, we just pull out a box of Kleenex to use it. That would be much appreciated. All right. There is a little test tomorrow, 20 minutes. It's called the Top 20. And some of you guys already know it and have already rocked it in the past. We'll see how much of you remember. And for those of you that haven't ever seen the Top 20 before, All it is base algebra skills that are going to be on the ACT someday, and also would be very handy for this class. It won't go in the grade book, so don't try to study for it. All right? That's all I got for you for today. It was nice to meet you.